Hello and welcome to my Four Boys and an NL Girl podcast. My name is Patty. I am here with Toby the dog, who I don't think you can see. Let's see if we can get Toby up to say hello. Toby. Toby. The cat was scratching the chair. It disturbed Toby. Toby. Come on. Come on. All the way up. Good boy. This is Toby. He is my, not usually here. We are dog sitting Toby for a few weeks while my brother and sister-in-law and my nephew are visiting Australia. Very exciting. So Toby's having a holiday with us, aren't you, boy? Hey, yeah, are you going to be my co-host today? That'd be nice. The cats don't come out around as much when Toby is here, not because they're scared of him, but because he is terrified of them. Toby's a really timid dog. He is scared of everything. He's scared of the wind, he's scared of waterfalls, he's scared of all different kinds of cars and other people. Aren't you, Toes? And here comes the cat, so I'm going to put Toby down. There you go, baby. Because I don't want an altercation. He gets really upset when the cats get a little bit too close. So, this is my podcast. I talk about making all kinds of things on my podcast. It's mainly a knitting podcast, but I also talk about sewing and crocheting and cross-stitching, rug hooking, basically quilting, basically all the things that I like to make, because I like to make just about everything. So that's what this podcast is about. I'm coming to you from Newfoundland and Labrador, the most easterly province in Canada. And I live on the island of Newfoundland, which is about 7 hours off mainland Canada in the northeastern Atlantic. So it is cold here today. It is, well, actually today is a beautiful day. It is only -1, which is fairly warm for here right now. But the ice is in, and some of my footage today, I always show footage of parts of Newfoundland and Labrador at the end of my podcast. And the footage for this week is from Middle Cove Beach and is showing us down by the slob ice that came in last week. We're really excited about that. We get icebergs here on a regular basis. They're not usually close enough they often come in close enough for pretty good pictures. But we often see them way offshore, and the same with the slob ice. It's usually further offshore than we are, so actually getting it nice and close is a bit of a treat. Although when the wind is blowing off the water, it does make it a little bit colder here, so it's kind of a bittersweet treat. I'd like to thank anybody who's joining me for the very first time. Thank you so much for dropping by and checking me out. If you like what you see, I'd love it if you subscribed. Then you can find out what's happening with me on a more regular basis. I try and post a podcast once a week or once every week and a half, so I'm fairly regular with episodes. And I'm excited to announce that this is episode 20 of the Four Boys and an NL Girl podcast. And for anybody who's new, my podcast is called Four Boys and an NL Girl because I am an NL girl, being from Newfoundland and Labrador, and I live with 3 boys and my husband, and I call him a boy too, so those are my 4 boys. Anybody who has been with me for a while and is coming back to see me again, thanks so much. I really appreciate you being here. And here is Angel, one of our cats. She loves it when I podcast. She's almost always about. She's also here intimidating Toby, who's got his head down because he's quite scared, so I may have to take a break at some point and separate these 2 animals. Hey. Hello, Angel. All right, so it's going to be a fairly short podcast today. I only have one half-finished object to show you. I've mainly been working this week on, and if you're following me on Instagram, you will have noticed that I posted a picture of the cross stitch that I'm designing, and I'll post an updated picture here so you get to see it. So that's the updated picture. I'm still very much working on this design. Still have a few tweaks that I need to do on this design, but I plan to have it ready, the kit and the pattern ready, so that I'll have 3 patterns all together in my Etsy shop that I'm going to be opening at the end of April. Yay! So that's kind of exciting. And as I mentioned, this is episode 20. I can't believe that I have recorded 20 episodes. That's just incredible to me. I'm really excited. I can't believe that more and more people come and watch my podcast every week, which is really exciting. And it's so nice that I can reach out and touch people who are knitting and making and sharing the same crafty goodness that I am, which is just wonderful. I'm just going to move the cat for 1 second. Hey, you. What? Okay, hopefully now we won't have a cat and dog fight on film, because I prefer not to do that. All right, so I'm going to start off with a half-finished object. This is, if you've been following me for a while, this is a pair of socks that I'm knitting for my husband. I had planned on having them for Christmas. It is now April 6th and they're not finished, but that's okay. My husband's a really patient man. He knew that these were going to might take me a while. I have to admit that one of the reasons that these have taken so long, besides other projects that I keep getting involved in, because that's certainly the main issue, but the other reason is I'm doing Susan B. Anderson's Smooth Operator sock pattern, and it has an afterthought heel, which I hadn't done before, and I was really intimidated about that, so I was really postponing and procrastinating about starting this kind of heel and getting that on the go. So I did attempt that this week. So here is where I am to date on these socks. So I have my afterthought heel made. I'm pleased with how it turned out, but I'm not crazy about the fit. So I tried it on my husband as is, and both to see how much further I had to knit down the toe and to see if the heel fit, because I was concerned about here. I was concerned about if it was going to pull or not across the arch. It does pull a bit of it across the arch. So I was really lucky this week. I sent a note out on Instagram wondering if anybody could give any assistance on afterthought heels and make suggestions. And I got a whole slew of great suggestions on how to fix my afterthought heel. So what I'm going to do is, the biggest suggestion that I got, or the biggest, I think, advice that I'm going to use at this point is that I'm going to knit a few extra rounds before I start to do the decrease for the heel. Hi, Toby. So as I was saying, I'm going to knit probably as much as 5 rows extra on the round part of the heel before I start to do the heel decreases. I guess that's for the gusset portion of the heel. So once I get, and then I will try them on my husband again if that fits him better, and I'm hoping it should, because that should give a little bit more stretching over the arch. As long as that fits him better, I'll take out this particular heel, which I'm not looking forward to. I've done a Russian graft at the end, and I'll take, that's really, the yarn is so dark because it's this black green. You won't be able to tell there's a Russian graft on here. I can, if you look up Russian graft tutorial, then you can see what that looks like. I had gotten that information from Jules over at the So Sweet Violet podcast, because I am not comfortable doing a Kitchener stitch. I tried with this sock. I did a Kitchener stitch. It turned out horribly. I took it out, which was a nightmare, because part of it I had done correctly, and it's nice to know that when you do grafting that it's really difficult to take out, which I will need to do, of course, with that heel. And you know what? I may just cut it out. Don't tell anybody though, if that's freaking out any other knitters that thinking that I'm cutting my yarn, because I may end up doing that just to get the graft out of there. But anyway, I'll take out that heel and redo it if I can get the next heel to work out properly. So I'm really hoping I can get to that this week, along with finishing off my cross stitch project. So that's pretty much it for my knitting content today, and my crafting content. But I want, because this is as I mentioned, my 20th episode, and I still have Toby the dog here with me, who is very excited too, aren't you, Toby? I haven't hosted a giveaway on the podcast in ages. I'll talk about the spring make along now in a second, because I will be giving prizes for that. But I haven't hosted any prizes on the podcast for ages, so it's a new contest alert. If you've been following me for a while, I have received this beautiful prize package from SS, from Critium Handmaids, and she had done it specifically for this podcast, and she was generous enough to do 2, one for me and one for a lucky viewer. So what I'd like to do in this 20th episode is give out that particular package, and it's a wonderful prize package. I'm going to show you all the details now in a second, but the rules for the contest are going to go like this. I'd like you to subscribe to my podcast and or subscribe to me on Instagram, and if you subscribe to both, then that gives you gives you 2 entries in the contest. I'm going to do up a little post on Instagram as well, so if you repost that information, that would also give you an entry. And if you're able to leave a comment either on Instagram and tag some friends, that would be another opportunity to win. And the same on YouTube. If you subscribe, that's 1 entry, and if you leave a comment, then that's 2 entries. So it would be great. I'd love to get some more interaction with anybody that's watching my podcast, and I think that would be a great way to do it. So it's just going to be under 20th episode podcast contest or something to that effect. Very simple. And I will be drawing for it next week on my 21st podcast episode. So I want to show you what's involved. So first of all, it's a full project bag package. So it's this clear project bag, which is just gorgeous. Oh, Toby's growling. I'm not sure what he's scared about now. There's a cat that he can see, so that might be the problem. SS does such a gorgeous job with her bag. So it's this clear. I have, as I said, SS had given me one of these bags as well, and I use it all the time. So it's got a nice zipper. She has a lovely little zipper pull there with her shop name and such on it. Hopefully the camera focuses on that, but if not, oh well. Like I said, I'm going to have a little, I'll put a little photograph in as well that you've probably already seen. It's got this little Notions pouch with this gorgeous little tassel. Inside that Notions pouch are these beautiful jewel-like, let's do it this way, jewel-like stitch markers or progress, I think they're stitch markers. Yeah, stitch markers, not progress keepers. So those go back in here. There's also a DPN cozy right here that snaps up. These pretty orange snaps. Orange is my favorite color. I think SS knew that, so I absolutely love this kit. Not only for the beautiful workmanship, but also for the color. SS's card. And it also includes this skein of SS's Birds and Butterflies on her Rosanna sock base. There's 436 yards, it's 100 grams, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. Here is this gorgeous, gorgeous skein of yarn. Now, because I already had this package, I've actually started knitting with it on my snow melt cowl, and I wanted to show you how it knits up. So the first part, I've got dog hair on my nose. The first part of this shawl, so this part up here, not this part with the pink, but this part up here, that's Birds and Butterflies. That's what it looks like knit up. And it's a really, really gorgeous, it's a happy yarn. I like happy yarn. So SS, thank you so much for this prize package. I'm absolutely thrilled to be giving it out finally. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to give it out as a prize package. You probably meant for me to have given it out a while earlier. So thank you so much. I love the yarn. I love the bag. I've got the stitch markers all over my snow melt shawl. It's something that I've used. I use every bit of this this prize package, or the one that SS had gifted to me. I use every bit of it every week, so it's certainly getting lots of use. So thank you so much for that, and I hope lots of you lovely people enter because it is a beautiful prize, and I'd love to send this anywhere in the world. There's no restriction about where it's going, and so like I said, I'll post on the bottom of the screen. I'll also post the contest information, and I'll list it on Instagram. So if you're not on Instagram, it'll be there, and if I figure it out, I'll put it in the show notes as well. I need to figure out how to do show notes at the bottom of my podcast, I think. That might be the easiest way to do it rather than on my blog, but we'll see how that goes. The last thing I want to talk about is mine and Barbara's Crafty Spring Make-Along. Barbara over at the Knitting I Love podcast. Hi, Barbara. We're hosting a Crafty Spring Make-Along, and I'd like to thank you so much for the folks that are joining on Ravelry. Now, one person that contacted me and found the group, but we're finding it difficult, and I realized after that I haven't been posting my thread, the exact podcast thread name on Ravelry here, so I'm going to put that here on the screen, so that you can find me. It's a little bit different than if you just look up 4 Boys and a Girl on Ravelry. So I apologize for that if people have been having difficulty finding me. All right, Toby's here, leaned right in for a cuddle again. So I want as many people as possible to join the thread. I've started collecting prizes for the cat's tearing around now. This is a very interrupted podcast. I guess today my podcast is being brought to you by my zoo here at my house. Not necessarily a very cooperative zoo because Angel is tearing around like a mad thing, so I'm probably going to get some background noise. Anyway, back to Barbara and I. Any makes that you are making, so paper crafts, rug hooking, sewing, of course knitting, crocheting, tatting, if you do any tatting, anything like that, anything sewing, quilting, I think I mentioned that. So anything that you are making that is fairly large or you've made a bunch of, then we would like to see that posted in both mine and Barbara's threads. That will give you double the chances of earning a prize from Barbara or myself. As I mentioned, I've started to collect some, I have some yarn already for the giveaway. Barbara has generously gifted her Go Slow hat pattern for the giveaway as well. So as I collect things for prizes, I will show them. I don't have anything new to show you this week, but as I collect things to put in those prize packages, I will continue to show them here on the podcast. So thank you very much for joining me. It's been a wonderful visit. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you've had time to sit down with a cup of tea and maybe some knitting or crocheting and spend some time with me, which I really would appreciate if you would do on a weekly basis. So if you are interested in doing that, hit the subscribe button, and hopefully I will see you again next week here at Poor Boys and NL Girl Podcast. Take care, and I hope you get lots of time this week to have some time to make some crafty things that you enjoy. Bye-bye. Thank you.